the magic of silence. The world was accustomed to seeing her in the spotlight. In pearls at Tiffany's, in Princess Anne's billowing gowns, in skinny trousers on the streets of Paris. Audrey Hepburn was the face of an entire era, a woman whose profile was instantly recognizable from Tokyo to New York. But few knew that the real Audrey, the one without makeup and tiara, truly lived only here, among emerald meadows, snow-capped peaks, and the mirror-like surface of Swiss lakes. For Audrey, Switzerland wasn't a place for tax maneuvers or a temporary refuge. It became her soul. In 1963, at the height of her international fame, she said, "I've found a place where I can simply be myself." And today, we'll follow in her footsteps. This isn't just a tourist route. This is an attempt to unravel the secret of quiet luxury, a lifestyle Audrey created long before it became a social media trend. We'll explore the closed hotels of Bürgenstock, stroll along the embankments of Montreux and Lausanne, and of course, knock on the invisible doors of her estate in Tolochenaz. Get ready. We're heading to the country that taught this style icon the most important thing: the art of being happy in the shadows. Chapter 1. Tolochenaz, where roses smell of home. Our journey begins in the small town of Tolochenaz, just a couple of kilometers from Morges. If you're looking for golden gates or a moat infested with crocodiles, you'll be disappointed. The estate, La Paisible, which translates as peaceful, is hidden behind an ordinary stone wall. Audrey bought this house in 1965. It was an old 18th century farmhouse with white walls and gray shutters. When she first entered the garden, fruit trees were blooming. She told her son, Sean, "This is where we'll put down roots." A true story. Locals in Tolochenaz still remember Audrey Hepburn, Oscar winner and Givenchy muse, standing in line at the local butcher's. She was wearing a simple beige raincoat and carrying a wicker basket. One day, a tourist asked a local farmer, "Where does Hepburn live?" The farmer, who had just greeted Audrey, shrugged and replied, "We don't have people like that, only our neighbors." It was an unspoken agreement across Switzerland to protect her right to a normal life. Audrey adored her garden. She personally selected the rose varieties. She said that gardening is the surest way to believe in tomorrow. If you plant a bulb today, you believe spring will come tomorrow. That was her. While Hollywood demanded eternal youth here in Tolochenaz, she allowed herself to age gracefully, surrounded by nature, which requires no filters. Walking these streets today, you'll feel the same peace. Enter the church where she prayed, or the small cemetery. Her grave is the epitome of minimalism, a simple stone cross and flowers. No epitaphs of fame, just her name and dates. Because for the people of Tolochenaz, she wasn't a star, but a kind neighbor who always thanked her for fresh bread. Chapter 2. Bürgenstock, love above the clouds. Now we move inland to Lake Lucerne. If Tolochenaz was her everyday life, then Bürgenstock became her fairy tale. Imagine sheer cliffs dropping straight into the blue water, and a resort floating 450 meters above the sky. It was here in 1954 that Audrey Hepburn said, "I do" to her first husband, Mel Ferrer. It was a wedding any modern influencer would dream of, but there was not a hint of ostentation about it. A small Gothic chapel, just a few guests, and a Balmain dress that transformed her into a wood nymph. Bürgenstock was the epicenter of the world's elite in those days. They didn't just vacation here. They lived here. Sophia Loren lived in a villa nearby for several years. Can you imagine this scene? Two of the greatest women of the 20th century meeting one morning on the Wiesenweg Trail to discuss the views of the Alps. Hammerschwan Elevator. Audrey often rode this, Europe's highest open elevator. The moment the cabin leaps out of the cliff into the open air is breathtaking. She loved this feeling of freedom. Bürgenstock Palace Hotel. Today, this resort has undergone a $500 million renovation, but Audrey's spirit is woven into the very walls here. In the spa, looking out over the lake through the panoramic windows, you understand why she chose these mountains to recuperate after the grueling filming of War and Peace. The Bürgenstock celebrity stories are a chronicle of a golden age. It is said that it was here that Audrey learned to make her famous spaghetti al pomodoro. She adored carbohydrates, despite her frailty, and believed that a good mountain lunch could heal any emotional wound. Chapter 3. Gstaad, Cashmere, and Champagne. If you ask where in Switzerland the concentration of wealth per square meter reaches its highest, the answer will be one: Gstaad. But for Audrey, this place wasn't about money, it was about friends. In winter, Gstaad turns into a living Christmas card. Wooden chalets decorated with garlands and the smell of roasting chestnuts. Audrey often came here to visit her close friend, Valentino Garavani. Yes, that same great Valentino called her his muse and often hosted her at his luxurious chalet, Tredeci. Gstaad is the birthplace of the concept of après-ski in its most elite sense. But Audrey was rarely seen at the wildest parties. She was more often found at the Gstaad Palace Hotel. This hotel resembles a castle from a Brothers Grimm fairy tale. Audrey could spend hours chatting with Elizabeth Taylor or Richard Burton by the fireplace in his lobby. Insight from contemporaries. Gstaad is the only place in the world where you can see a king, a billionaire, and a Hollywood star all in line for cheese fondue. Audrey adored the democratic nature of Swiss luxury. Here, you didn't need diamonds to be respected. A good cashmere sweater and a sincere smile were enough. Stroll along the Gstaad Promenade. It's the shortest and most expensive shopping street in the world. Louis Vuitton, Hermès, Cartier. All hidden in cozy wooden houses. Audrey appreciated this contrast. Rustic simplicity on the outside and the highest quality on the inside. This is precisely her style, never flaunting more than necessary. We return to Lake Geneva, to the town of Morges. If you want to experience Audrey's rhythm, come here on Saturday mornings to the market. She loved this city for its flower festivals. Every spring, thousands of tulips bloom in Independence Park. Audrey was the guest of honor at these celebrations. Here, among the flowers, she felt at home. She often visited the Confiserie Fornerod pastry shop. They say she adored their chocolates. In Switzerland, it's impossible to be a style icon without indulging in chocolate. Lausanne, a 10-minute drive away, was a cultural hub for her. She attended Maurice Béjart ballets and often dined at the Borevich Palace. This hotel is legendary. Peace treaties were signed within its walls, but for Audrey, it was a place to sip tea with a view of the French Alps on the other side of the lake. In these cities, Audrey was a mother. She drove her sons to school, went to the movies, and simply enjoyed the fact that her life was her own, not Paramount's. The legacy of quiet luxury. Concluding our route, we return to Tolochenaz, her home. Audrey Hepburn passed away in 1993 here at her peaceful estate. But her presence in Switzerland is still felt. It's in the clean air, the leisurely pace of the trains, the dignity with which the Swiss treat their land. Audrey taught us that luxury isn't the number of rooms in a house or the number of zeros in a bank account. Luxury is the ability to walk in the woods with your dogs. It's breakfast on a terrace overlooking the mountains. It's privacy that can't be bought, but can be found if you choose the right path. Switzerland gave Audrey Hepburn peace, and she gave this country a piece of her light. If you ever find yourself here, don't rush through the list of attractions. Stop. Have a coffee at a small cafe in Morges. Gaze at the clouds over Bürgenstock. Experience the moment. After all, as Audrey herself said, life is like a walk through a museum. You only begin to understand what you've seen after a while when you start thinking about it. Our journey in Audrey Hepburn's footsteps is over, but her route is open to anyone who appreciates beauty, silence, and